All right, next up is a video from FifthdreadTV, and it's titled Piracy and PvP Good for Star Citizen. Is piracy a problem? Is the thumbnail. This is why I was kind of like, ooh, I wonder what they're going to have to say here. Let's see.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's FifthdreadTV, and I just want to make a quick video.
Holy camera quality.
About Star Citizen piracy and PvP. Is it a problem? What do I feel about it? I've been playing the game since late last year. And of course I have opinions. Who doesn't have opinions? And I love to talk about them. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I'll tell you right now, I definitely am going to have some hot takes in this video. So if you disagree with me, that's fine. Leave a comment and let me know, because I can take that. So anyway, let's talk.
Cool.
About it from the beginning. PvP, okay? What is PvP and what is piracy? And is it a problem in the game? Now, I'm going to spoiler alert you. I don't think it is a problem. In fact, I think it enriches the game.
Cool.
Now,
agreed.
I'm not a pirate myself. I'm somewhat of an honorable player. I'm somebody that plays Mass Effect, right? And I can't make the mean guy choice. I just can't do the renegade option. Because I'm a paragon, you know what I'm saying? I like to be the nice.
Same. Yeah, in Star Citizen, I rampage. I don't know why.
This guy, you know, back in high school when people said, are you on the light or the dark side? You know, so many of the kids, the teenagers back then were all edgy and they were like, oh, I'm dark side. And I was like one of the only ones that was like, yeah, I'm on the light side. And that's just what it is, right? It's just my persona. It's just who I am. So I find a hard time being a pirate in the game. So I often play on the side of the good guy. And as a result, you would think like I'm not into PvP. No, that's not true. In fact, I love PvP.
Shoot.
I love it so much that I was doing bounty hunting.
Dude, I'm sorry, I can't look away from the screen. It is a little bit like jumpy, but the action he's getting here almost seems like scripted. It's so good. And
bounty hunting is one of the most fun things I've ever done in the game. It's so fun to chase down people with crime stats and take them out.
I don't think it's scripted. People are giving them crime
I
stats.
have fun. I love doing the space combat. I love like everything to do with it. Now, with that being said, there's been an increasing number of players that I've seen online and in my org that are just so afraid of PvP. They're just scared of it. They don't want to do anything related to PvP. They don't want to mess with pirates. They don't want to mess with other players that shoot anything at them. You aim a gun at some of these players, like a ship with weapons, and they just freak out, okay? Oh, I had one org mate. He was like, I don't want to be near Grimhex at all. I don't want to go there because it's too scary for them. Grimhex is too dangerous.
What? I mean, we need to get to a point where lawful players can't go to Grimhex, but fine.
And I'm like, what? No, I mean, it can be dangerous. It can be, Grimhex has been dangerous, but if you know how to mitigate your risks, then there's no problem. And in fact, that's how I feel about most of the PvP and piracy in the game. You have to mitigate the risks. Understand what the risks are, what's at stake, how much are you willing to lose, and then...
The problem is nothing is at stake. And that's where these, like, players who don't want to engage in PvP always seem to have ammo against anybody who does PvP and calls them griefers and all these things, because there's no gain for killing people, right? Other than, like, the satisfaction of winning.
Figure out, like, what's your game plan? And so many players fail to do this. One of the things that I want other players to realize is that risks enrich the game. For example, one of the games that I really have grown to enjoy.
I want to give him a big hug through the camera. I love this guy.
Was Monster Hunter. Okay, it's a franchise of it's a PvE game, right? But it's all about risk versus reward in that game. It's about planning, right? So in Monster Hunter, it was all about planning for your hunt. In more modern Monster Hunters, it's less about planning because, you know, you don't really have to think about what you're bringing with you on your hunt as much as you used to back in the day in the older Monster Hunters. But Monster Hunter was all about planning your hunt, right? So what do I take with me on the hunt? What resources am I going to need? What's going to help me against this this particular challenge, right? And then you go and face that challenge, and then through struggle and perseverance, you might win or lose, right? And it makes the victory taste that much sweeter
100%.
when you prepared and you successfully met the challenge with the appropriate response, right? You looked at what you needed, you took the necessary precautions, and then you executed and you succeeded, right? And that feels great. Star Citizen is the same way. If you're doing anything in Star Citizen, what you need to do is realize, like, you're probably gonna get attacked. This is a full loot PvP game, and I understand the game's still in development and things are subject to change. I'm really speaking about the game as it is today.
Okay.
Just so you know. Pretty much anything you do in the game right now, there's going to be some level of risk, some with more or less risk. And all you got to do is mitigate the risk. If you're a salvager, it's like, where do you go and salvage that has low or high risk? If you're a miner, where do you mine that has low or high risk? You know, if you're doing if you're moving refined resources to sell it, you know, how do you do that in such a way where you can mitigate the risks involved to prevent piracy, right? How do you prevent that from happening? And if you do get pirated, what steps do you take at that point? No.
And I think it's a good thing to, like, consider those things now. But again, losing your loot doesn't matter. So this is the perfect pause, by the way. But, like, losing loot just doesn't matter in the game. So, you know, you have players backspacing, alt F4ing, blowing up their own cargo just so pirates can't get it, things like that, because there's no consequence to their actions. I think the moment there's consequence to your actions is the moment we need to have a place where players cannot be attacked. Because some players are just going to need to live in that world and be able to have their ship meetups or whatever, like peaceful places. But everywhere else, there's consequence for the casual player dying, if we want to call them casual. I don't like that name necessarily. And then there's consequence for the PKer dying as well. And both those consequences suck, and neither player wants to die. So everyone has to make a risk versus reward assessment on whether or not they want to engage in this fight or not, right? And right now, it's every PvPer just fights anything and everything they come across, and every casual player just dies and complains about it. Like, that's all we have right now. It sucks.
Nobody's thinking about these things.
Everyone.
People need to think about these things and plan ahead. If you get caught with your pants down, whose fault is it but your own, right? Like, most of the time, and I'm not saying that you can't get caught out. You can't just be somewhere where you think you're safe and then all of a sudden somebody just one-shots you. Or somebody trolls you, maybe pad rams you. Like, these things can happen. But this is just the nature of a game like Star Citizen. And it's really because Star Citizen tries to be more of a simulation than a game. They don't really have mechanics in the game.
I don't necessarily agree with that. But simulating what exactly? It's not a space sim. In the true sense, it's not like a Kerbal mechanics, like actual physics, you know, and all that stuff. What is it simulating? It definitely isn't a game. It's just not finished. It just isn't even remotely finished. So I don't think it's trying to be anything other than more finished. That's it.
To prevent certain pirate activities, so to speak. It's because real life wouldn't. One of the things about the game, because it tries to be a space simulator, it tries to prevent gamifying things or putting barriers up where they just wouldn't realistically be barriers. In fact, armistice zones are already probably the most gamified barrier that we have as far as, like, preventing, you know,
and the intention is for those to go away.
PvP or griefing. Armistice zones are these safety bubbles around key locations, and that's about as much as you're going to get from Star Citizen. In fact, they already intend on getting rid of those.
Yep.
So, you know, enjoy them while they last, but until the game has, like, proper mechanics, which is like security forces and stuff like that, like police ships or whatnot, better security, until these NPCs can handle the situation, we're going to have armistice zones. It's just what it is. With the way the game is now, there's ways to mitigate all risk. And I think that people that are afraid of PvP, they need to know a couple things. And I'm going to tell you those things right now. First things first, if you're a purely PvE player, you don't like doing PvP combat and you don't want to,
there's no place for you in Star Citizen right now. If we're going to talk about Star Citizen right now, there is literally no place for you in the game. How much does that suck for them? Like, let's think about both sides here. If you're not interested in fighting, there's almost no place for you. None.
That's okay. The game still can be for you, but you need to understand a couple things that'll put the game in your favor. First things first, have friends. Strength in numbers is your biggest advantage that you can get. Okay, these pirate orgs, a lot of times pirates run solo. They fly solo, and you might have like one guy, some people call them murder hobos, whatever, okay? You can prevent that guy just by having strength in numbers. Run with your friends, have some multi-crew, have a group, be in a group, you know what I'm saying? Now, I know that it's hard for a lot of people, you know, people don't like to group up. I understand, people like to play solo. You can still mitigate the risks. If you're a solo player, now all of a sudden you got to think about like, okay, how do I get out of a situation that I don't want to be in? So many times.
Dude, what was he doing with his guns there? I just realized, hold on, this whole time.
Players that get pirated could easily have escaped had they had a little bit of situational awareness. If you're not watching your radar, what are you doing? First off, if you see pips on the radar, are they friendly? Probably not. Never trust a blue pip just because it's blue. That could just be a pirate that's on vacation. Okay, he could easily...
Oh my God. 2 gun sets with differing ammo speed. What you can do is there's a set, just so you guys know, there's a setting in the game that even if you have 2 guns with 2 different speeds, they will converge together and you can use both at the same time. I think you're putting yourself at a massive disadvantage by not doing that. So, yeah.
Flip the switch and be on you. Always look at somebody with a little bit of skepticism. It doesn't matter who it is. If they act friendly and you're not in an armistice zone,
what a good name, unknown user
you're
ID.
Probably at risk. And do you need to take that risk? It's up to you. It's up to you. You got to outweigh what do you have to lose? Do you have a full load of cargo? Maybe don't talk to that random stranger. Maybe get out of there. Do you have nothing on you? You can afford to take risks. I mean, it makes sense. You don't need me to tell you this. Tell me if this sounds like a familiar post on Reddit or Spectrum or whatever. Oh, you know, I was just minding my own business. I had a full load of cargo, and then all of a sudden I got killed. I work 30-hour days, and, you know, I come home tired and exhausted, and after a long day, I just want to sit down and relax and play Star Citizen.
Every post is, I work, therefore I deserve to enjoy my time. Yeah, well, maybe, you know, you shouldn't have to take a 14-hour train ride, wait for your ship to spawn for 10 minutes, and all these other things.
Does that sound familiar to you? Well, let me tell you something right now. That guy, he should be going to play Stardew Valley. He should be going to play Euro Truck Simulator, American Truck Simulator. He shouldn't be going to play Star Citizen because this game, as of right now, doesn't have a safe space for you. Okay? I'm sorry to say this. Star Citizen...
I don't like his tone because I don't think it's the fault of the player. Right? I don't think it's the fault of the player, and I don't think you should ever tell somebody to go play a different game. It's the fault of the developer.
Is going to have some risk. There is not zero risk. And in fact, why would you want that? Why would you want zero risk? Working around the risk is fun. The risk enriches the game. You feel like you've planned for the situation. You've looked at the landscape of risk and what's at stake. You've properly planned around it. You've succeeded. You feel more fulfillment playing a game where there's risk than had there been no risk at all. Okay, if you look at a situation, whether it be salvaging, mining, transporting goods, okay, various things in the game, they come with levels of risk, okay, because this game isn't so much a game as it tries to be a simulation. A simulation in which we have humans in it. Humans that are notorious for being assholes. So you have to...
I agree with this rich white guy.
Playing around people in the game. And sometimes people want to be pirates. Sometimes they want to get their cheap thrills by shooting at you. And the way that you mitigate those risks, okay?
You just did 5 minutes ago. You said this game has in space for no PvPers. Yes. But what he's saying is like it's the tone that he has is anger towards the player. My tone is towards the developer for not giving them a safe space. That's my differing of his opinion. We're saying the same thing. The game lacks a safe place for players to just hang out, do a little cargo hauling, do a little mining. You know, extremely low risk, extremely low reward. But people need a place in the game to just hang out and not have to look over their shoulder and thinking they're going to die. I'm not saying an entire star system necessarily, although Terra probably will be that way, or Earth or something like that, but just pockets of space that are just fairly big that people can just hang out a little bit in. Every MMO has this. That is a thing. I'm sorry, guys. Play video games once in your life and stop pretending like this is real life. This isn't. It's a video game. People need to have havens where they can just hang out a little bit. I'm not saying change the entire game, but just play anything. Play any video game in your life, and there's a place where you can go where there aren't NPCs that are trying to kill you and there aren't players that are trying to kill you, and you can just go AFK. Like, come on, man. That's a real thing, okay? It's a real thing.
Is simple. All you got to do is plan for them. What are the most likely attack surfaces for the enemy, right? Think about what they're going to do. Put yourself in the enemy's head for a minute. How are they going to get you? If you're a salvager...
PvP toggling kills PvP. Bro, I'm not calling for PvP toggling, okay? I want risk and reward everywhere. I just want players to sign up for the risk when they have it, right? A lot of games have safe areas, medium areas, have like dangerous areas, right? And everybody knows what they're getting into when they go into those areas. It's not a PvP slider of like, I don't want to experience PvP, but I still want to go to the cool areas. No, you don't get to go to the best places without the risk. You get to sit in the boring places and repeat your loop over and over and over again for the lowest grade materials and the lowest end missions and earn the lowest amount of rep, whatever, right? All the good stuff is out there. That's it. The problem is the Stanton system is one of those places where there's good stuff and there's risk. There's no safe place for anybody. It sucks. It's not good. It's not a good situation. I'm sorry.
Go out and you salvage various locations for salvage, right? If you're going to mitigate the risks as a salvager, all you got to do is go to the safer location. Far away Lagrange points, unlikely you're going to see anybody there, okay? The ones closer to big hub locations, those are the ones more likely to be traveled by pirates. But still, right, the further out you go, the better. Air and Halo is absolutely safe because you're out there.
Level 2 leather helmet.
Literally in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness. But it's also very hard to find anything there. So the game likes to balance risk and reward in some aspects, right? It's very low reward, but it's low risk in the Air and Halo. You mine the Rings of Yila right next to Grimhex, the freaking capital.
Aaron's Halo is probably, you know what, he makes a good point. Aaron's Halo is probably the best example of a safe place. But if you're mining, you still got to go back to one of those areas where you're going to get attacked. And I think that that's like the best loop that we have currently is you go out into the safe place, you participate in your gameplay loop, whether it's salvaging or mining. I think salvaging is really tough in the Halo at the moment. But you go out there, it's calm, it's peaceful, but you got to jump through that hoop, the hoop of fire in order to get to home base and be safe. And it's a little, heart-pumping moment for the players when it happens. I think that that's really, really great. I think that's the best situation that we have right now.
Yeah, it's going to be higher risk, but it's going to come with greater reward because now there's a lot of pain.
And pirates may not like that they can't find people mining out there in the Halo. I think eventually you will be able to, but you just camp the refinery areas, right? And
in the rings of Yla to be salvaged. Now, another thing to realize, more so than just...
Good answer to that risk is detachable mining bags. Sell them to someone willing to take the risk. 100%. Yeah. If only we had that in 3.18. Hopefully we get it in 3.19. Fingers crossed.
Planning and, like, you know, going to locations. You got to know how to have good situational awareness. People don't. People don't even realize what's happening until it's too late. You need to realize if people are around you, you have radar and sensors, okay? You can see if players are near you. And if you don't, and it's too late and it happens so fast, well, now you got to bug out. And there's got to be a bug out plan, especially if you're a salvager or a miner. You should be thinking, like, if I get attacked right now, how do I get out? And then if you do get attacked, hopefully your planning helped you get out of that situation. If you mitigate the risks, if you plan, then you're going to be rewarded. I have yet to be pirated in the game, but I have been killed in PvP plenty of times, trust me. I understand that there's always a level of risk. How much are you willing to lose? Is it really a good idea to load up that C2 with $2 million worth of cargo? Probably not. And if you do want to do that haul, why aren't you calling for a friend to escort you or something? Why aren't you having somebody help you out for a minute, man? Like, hey,
because you've never been pirated before. That's why. The amount of times you get pirated is so non-existent that's why nobody invites anybody. It's because we're so spread out and there's so few of us in a server, we never come across the each other. The escort argument is, you want to talk about the current game now, this is like the first thing that I hard disagree with him on, is you can't ask someone to escort for you because it is so boring. Right? It's so boring. And the other thing is that one thing you can't do is you can't be like, hey, I'm being attacked, come help me. Because you die in between 3 and 30 seconds. You know?
Hey,
yeah, like I unironically don't mind being the escort on a lot of things. I unironically don't mind being like the box mover guy. But a lot of people, I would never want to put them in a position to just stand around and wait while I do all the fun stuff. You know, it's just not. It's not a cool thing to do. I've talked about this plenty before. I will try to do it quickly. Basically, we need a system in the game that benefits everybody as a group, like org mechanics, group mechanics, where somebody who's just standing around in a ship hoping that, you know, that nothing happens, but they're there if something does. The reward at the end for everybody needs to be enjoyable enough or progressive enough, like you can progress enough, where everybody feels like they attributed just by being there. And then, you know, that's what most games with guilds and orgs and things like that can do. We just don't have that in Star Citizen yet, and we're not going to get it forever.
Like, reach out to an org, be like, hey guys, you know, I really don't want to get pirated here. I kind of got a lot of money at risk. Do you guys mind, like, you know, escorting me to the nearest whatever? And like, people are gonna do that, dude. People will love to do that. I would love to do that for absolutely zero money, okay? Because I just love playing the game. I just love to be in the game. And there are people just like me that just want to go out and hang out and help a bro
Probably
out. Reach
true.
out to somebody. Be like, hey, I could use somebody's help real quick. The last piece of advice you're
But if you reach out in Gen Chat, what's going to happen? You're going to get your ass pirated.
gonna hate. Get good. Stop being afraid. Like, here's the thing. PvP is fun. PvP can be a lot of fun. And even if you don't feel like you're skilled at it, a little bit of practice goes a long way. A little bit of watching some YouTube videos. Watch some Avenger 1 videos. You don't have to like him, but he's good, right? You don't have to like the guy, but he's good at the game. Look at some other videos from, hold on, let me get this guy's name. Jonathan Winters. Look at Jonathan Winters. He does some great...
You don't have to like the guy either.
Great little guide videos on, like, you know, flight mechanics and movement and all kinds of stuff like that. He's got amazing guides online that can teach you all the different various PvP mechanics. Fly around in a light fighter. Get used to it. Get good. You know, feel confident in yourself.
Here's my thing. How does flying around in a light fighter protect you while you're flying around in your C2? It doesn't. It doesn't. You know? And that's like, again, hard disagree on that. Although I have not in a long time before, but up to before I went on my vacation, I regularly went into Arena Commander and practiced light fighter PvP because I do not want to be bad. You know, if I come into the situation, I want to be able to defend myself. But when it comes down to a mining operation, a salvage operation, or a cargo one, how does any of that improve? I just don't think it does.
If somebody fights you, get excited. Be like, oh, now we get to throw down.
Where can you learn to become a better pilot? Avenger 1, Jonathan Winters, others. Legacy Academy, I think it's called. There's plenty of...
I've killed players in my C8R Pisces that want to fight me at Korea, trying to troll me in freaking fighters, no less, okay? And I just run circles around them because I practiced. I'm in a C8R and I have no fear. I will kill you. And I did. You can do it too. You don't have to be in a good ship. You just have to be...
He's right about that too. Is like I remember being in a stock Aurora and taking on a Gladius, and I was like, dude, that was one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had.
A better pilot. And that's what it takes, okay? Get good, get some practice in, and enjoy the game. It's a part of the game, it's an aspect of the game, and I understand that it might be a high-stress scenario for you, but you can do it. I believe in you. Okay? I do. I believe in you. In summary, piracy in the game is a legitimate gameplay loop. PvP there is risks associated with playing the game right now. It is what it is. We don't have high security sectors right now. We don't have...
I mean, let's not pretend that PvPers don't have their own risk with how horrid prison is.
Proper security or AI that can defend players that don't want to do PvP. So now you have to rely on the community to help you. You got to rely on yourself, and you have to plan for the risks and mitigate the risks and take less risks. You know, you could load up that C2 with, you know, way less cargo and make more trips. It's up to you. You know, how much do you want to risk at once? You know, is it worth risking 2 million or is it worth risking 200,000? You set how much is at risk, how much is at stake. With that in mind, I think Star Citizen can be played by any player, even if you're just a PvE player. You just have to properly plan for the risks, mitigate the risks. You can take control of how much is at stake. That enriches the game experience because those risks add tension. They add a sense of accomplishment when you've solved the problem, right? There's a lot to be gained there that's not just monetary value in the game, because honestly, there's not, like, money in the game isn't that valuable. It's really not. We don't have any good money sinks. So enjoy just flying around the verse and interacting and socializing with people. And PvP is a part of that socialization, even if it is a little bit of a frustration on some people.
I think that's the best advice he gave the whole game. It's not a game yet, and just enjoy interacting with other people. And sometimes the interactions are not going to be what you expect, you know? And when he says get good, try to protect yourself. Things
but I
like
say,
that.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of Grim Hex just because people might shoot at you, shoot back, you know, or just get to the Armistice Zone, you know. Soon, like, that's the thing. Every time I fly to Grim Hex, I go straight to the Armistice Zone, and then they can't do anything to you. You know, you fly straight there, and nobody's going to intercept you on the way there. And if they do, they probably won't have time to kill you.
Turn your mic on.
You know, between you quantuming in and you getting the Grim Hex, they probably don't have enough time, even if they launch torps at you or something, right?
You never know what a little conversation would do in the game.
Always the opportunity for you to get cheese killed, and it is a part of the game. It sucks. But thankfully, it happens so few and far between that I don't think you really have to worry about it. And I would just say, like, if it does happen to you more often than not, you know, I apologize because it hasn't happened to me, but not say it hasn't happened to anybody. You know, statistically, somebody out there is going to get screwed over more than the average person. You know, if they go on Spectrum, if they go on Reddit and start complaining about it, it is what it is. I understand their frustrations, and that's where the game is going to evolve, and it's going to change, and we're going to have high security sectors. But in the meantime, all you got to do is just shrug it off. You know, it is what it is. Keep playing the game. I think that on average, you're going to have a good time playing.
Wait, you just told them to go play other games.
And for those risks. And yeah, overall, in summary, stop being a little bitch about PvP. No, so yeah, in summary, PvP I don't think is a problem.
True.
I think it's awesome, and you should like it too, because it enriches the game. All right, that's all I got to say. I'll see you guys.
Dude, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. Let me link his channel to you guys. Two new people that we've never watched before with really cool points of view. This is FifthdreadTV, 256 subscribers. Let's get him up there because I think he deserves a lot more, and I really enjoyed that video. So thank you for that, Fifth Dread. Very cool.